Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 60s Project, where myself and Russell Howell are going through every movie that we can from the year 1960. Russell, how are you?
Good. Another mediocre week of 60s films, but one was a little bit better than the other, not by much. But yeah, looking forward to diving into this one. Both first time watches for me. And I've always wanted to watch the original Ocean's 11, so glad we got that under the belt. So, yeah.
Yeah, we will get to that in just a second. But as you alluded to, this was a rough one because it's like the 60s has been like sort of up and down because you're like, oh, we got some really quality stuff. And then just like mid and then like some kind of like bad stuff, but mostly just like here. It's like
Yeah.
consistently like here, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, Psycho's the standout. I think that other one that we really enjoyed. What was the other film? Man, it was
There's The Apartment.
The Apartment. Yeah, the Apartment, Psycho, and then what was the other one that we found out got a Criterion release? Oh my god, I can't think of it. It was with the wartime movie.
Oh, that was The Cranes Are Flying.
Cranes Are Flying. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I would say those are probably like the three best. And then everything else has been just kind of like subpar. There's been a lot of forgettable ones out of the mix.
I'll also throw Elmer Gantry in there as well. I greatly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I did too. And speaking of talking, I feel like that movie for the 2 hours and like 20-minute runtime, though, I felt like it was a little bit more interesting. Obviously, you know what I mean? I mean, there wasn't obviously a lot of action or whatever, but I felt like the acting really kind of drove that film. So, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll get into it now. But if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, we'd appreciate some stars. That'd be very nice of you. But let's get into it. First up, no, this is not the Soderbergh version. This is the original version of Ocean's 11. This was directed by Louis Milestone, and it stars the Rat Pack: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and friends. Like, if you can think of them, they're in there as well as Peter Lawford, Angie Dickinson as well, and Cesar Romero. God bless him.
Joker.
And it tells the story of Danny Ocean, played by Frank Sinatra, and his group, who decide, you know what? Let's rob some casinos, to quote the Late Late Show bit. Like, let's rob some casinos. And that's it. That's the movie. The plot really almost feels like it's non-existent. Like we were talking about, it's just an excuse for the Rat Pack to get together, smoke, drink, and talk with each other, which starts out kind of okay, but then gets very old after a while. And let me just say that Frank Sinatra can be a good actor. He won an Oscar for Manchurian Candidate, so it's not like this is just a vanity project. I mean, it kind of is, but there is talent here. Dean Martin sings. I mean, take some solace in that. He was a good singer. But this one was a toughie, especially when you consider that you got 3 Oceans movies with Soderbergh that were just way better.
Yeah, and I felt like a lot of this movie, like, I mean, you don't even hit anything near a casino or a heist or anything like that until probably over an hour into this film that's 2 hours long, which is crazy at the runtime. They easily could have shaved this to maybe an hour and a half, hour and 40, easily take 20 minutes out of this film. But yeah, like I said to you, I thought this was just pretty much an excuse to let's get Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, and Joey Bishop and everybody all together. Let's just drink, smoke, and let's just film it and see what we got. You know what I mean? And to their credit, I mean, they were huge in the 50s and 60s. So, I mean, you know, Vegas was obviously a whole different scene then. But I do appreciate the lore of all that. I love Sinatra and Dean Martin, respectively, singers as well. And Sammy Davis is great. Like, they're all great. I just felt like this film, you know, it took its time to get there. And I wasn't expecting, obviously, this elaborate, like, state-of-the-art, you know, Soderbergh Ocean's 11 film. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, you weren't going to get that. But I felt like the movie did trudge along slow slowly, and it was painful at times. But yeah, Sinatra I think was probably the best part of this film. I think his acting, like you said, obviously won an Oscar. And Dean Martin really wasn't bad. He wasn't in it a whole lot, but when Dean was in it, you kind of I always liked his character in the film as well.
And this is not like an anti-Rat Pack sentiment. Like I said, Sinatra's a good actor. They all can sing, they all can dance, they can even act if they're really like on their game. I would recommend a movie called Robin and the Seven Hoods, where it's Frank Sinatra who plays Robin Hood in like 1920s Chicago, and his guy of Gisborne is Peter Falk, aka
Oh,
Columbo.
Columbo,
It's
cool.
a musical. It's mad underrated. I can't recommend that one enough. So this is not like a I don't like the Rat Pack thing. This is just and at times a very slow movie, and it just really boils down to these people in a room just talking, and it's not as interesting as you think it is. The one thing that does save the movie for me and why I'm going to give it the rating that I'm going to give it is the ending. And spoilers, I guess, but the statute of limitations, like 55, 56 years later, like has long since passed. So here goes. They steal the money on New Year's Eve. They all have it sequestered in this coffin because one of their members dies. Cesar Romero is like, yeah, you're going to give me some of that money or I'm going to rat you out. But then they're like, well, we're going to put it in our buddy's coffin and we'll smuggle it out of here. They unfortunately wear blackface to accomplish this, which, I mean, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
they do it. It's in the funeral home. And then what they don't realize is that during the service, the body is cremated, which means the money is cremated.
Yeah.
And the looks when they realize that the money is being cremated is priceless, because like the chaplain's reading from the Bible, it's like the from ashes to ashes, from dust to dust, and as soon as they say ashes to ashes, people just turn, and like everyone just turns and looks at each other until it gets to the end of the line, until the last guy just like he just like turns and it's just like he's just trying his hardest not to like like he wants to disappear so bad because they know that like 10-20 million dollars just went like up in smoke. Like that's a lot of money nowadays, but that was worth even more money like back then.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
they
Well,
went
well,
to
I
all
mean,
that they went to all that work just for it to literally be ashes.
the silver lining is they can't get caught because there was nothing was obviously retrieved. So I mean, they're pretty
That's
much, you know what I mean. They're pretty much not, I guess, absolved from it because no one really knows. They can't really prove it because the money's not going to be there because it's burned. You know what I mean? So I guess that's where you could have probably done an Ocean's 12 back in the day. But like you said, I think this was it was one of those things where they just threw these guys together. They were all around each other, like, hey, you want to do this? I mean, it's still shot pretty well. I mean, it's a well shot film. It's not like cheesy by any standards. But yeah, like what you said, and then the other thing that was kind of crazy, it was like, okay, so why did you go through all that work to put it in the trash, like the trash truck, when you could have easily just gone, picked up the trash, take the bag out of the trash, and then just put the trash in, and then just kind of just put it in the back of the, put it inside with you. Then that way you really didn't need to go through like Sammy Davis's character didn't need to go through the trash in order to find the bags. You know what I mean? That would have kind of saved that step because even when they get pulled over when he's going through the, police block off and barricade the streets because they, obviously want to shut down the city so they can isolate who stole the cash. They just let him go. Like it was real easy. So like to me, it's like you could easily just taking the bags out, put him in the car with you, just put like a shirt or something over him. You know what I mean? And then that was that. It really wasn't that big of a deal, But yeah, kind of what you said though. I think the ending does kind of like it kind of does poke fun at the whole situation, like all that work for nothing. You know what I mean?
exactly. But for me and my money, I'm going to give this a good rating. It's not a remarkably like outstanding movie, and it's a case where the remake is doing laps around it, but
Yeah.
it's still very enjoyable. It's interesting looking at this and thinking like these guys are not necessarily like in their like either entering their prime or in their prime. So
Yeah.
like something like this would have just never happened today. And like even Ocean's 11, which came out in '01, like that was like Clooney, Pitt, like Damon was approaching his prime, but like Clooney, Damon, like a bunch of those like entering their prime.
Yeah.
So that movie, when it was remade, it really came out at the right time, if you really think about
Yeah, and on top of it, the other thing that this 1960 version has is Soderbergh's '01 Ocean's 11 get eyes back onto the 1961 because you kind of want to see, oh well, this is it's a remake of an original with the Rat Pack. Oh, okay, so you're going to be curious enough to check it out. So you can thank Soderbergh too for modernizing it and getting more eyes on the original because, like I said, I've always known obviously it was Soderbergh's was a remake obviously of the original with the Rat Pack. I just never watched it because like, how do you really top Soderbergh's, you know what I mean, films? Just, honestly, just because of the sheer talent you have involved in it, the elaborate plots, the action, the acting in it, like it's top notch. You know what I mean? It's a really, a great trilogy. Um, then you have this, and it's like, well, yeah, you understand this is where it came from. But I mean, overall, kind of what you said, this is like a mediocre film, middle of the road film. I mean, see it to see it just because of the fact that it's based, Soderbergh's remake was obviously based on this, so.
Also seeing Las Vegas at that time, which is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool to see, like, especially, like like that era and, like, that this movie and Casino are, like, a
Yeah.
great double feature of, like, seeing old school Vegas, whereas, like, the Sands, the Palms, like, the
Yeah.
Elvis concert going on at the Imperial,
Yeah.
things like that. Like that
Yeah.
old school Vegas. There's no Sphere, there's no like UFC Apex or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
old school, like mafia runs it, that kind of Vegas.
Yeah.
That's like it's like that Casino, couple other movies, I'm sure.
And then
But
modern, you could probably do a good pairing with Leaving Las Vegas mixed up with Showgirls. I think just more like a modern esque Vegas, not and kind of what you said. It doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't need a sphere and all that other stuff going on with it. Do you know what I mean? It's just Vegas. It's Vegas is the backdrop of it, and it's such a beautiful backdrop in any
mm,
film. Like you said, Casino. I remember when I first visited Vegas. I remember I watched Casino while we were in Vegas because it was just you're so enamored by all of that. The history of it. Like I have the Rat Pack picture with them in front of the Sands. I love that
mhm.
picture. I think it's such a iconic photo. And just like what you said, there's so much story and iconography from just thinking about these guys in their heyday in the 50s, in the 60s, running amok in Vegas, just being on top of the world. And it was just so, it was so bare bones, like, cause like Vegas was just kind of, slowly inching up to be, it's like, obviously it's not the Vegas it is now. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Just to be a part of that would be really fantastic too. Even Godfather 3, there's still shades of Vegas in there too.
Like just imagine, like the Vegas nowadays, they were running Formula One races on the strip. Like that would
Yeah.
have never happened, like even 10 years ago. But
Yeah.
that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. Let's get to the other half of our double feature. I can barely remember this one, so here it goes. It's called Circus of Horrors. This was directed by Sidney Hayers, and it starred Anton Diffring, Donald Pleasance for the third time in a row, or not in a row, but for the third
Yeah.
time in this project. The others, let me just pull up the others. The others being The Flesh and the Fiends, and what was the other one? It was the
Oh boy. I don't remember. It definitely had a niche for like the horror esque genre, so it wasn't surprising. Obviously, Loomis in '78's Halloween,
yeah, he
but
definitely was. He was definitely pigeonholed in that genre. Point
oh, for
is,
sure,
this is our third Pleasance movie of this project.
yeah,
And it tells the story of a plastic surgeon named Dr. Schuler, played by Diffring, who is escaping from the cops, and so he joins the circus because that's just the logical thing that you do. And he falls in love with a deformed woman, and the two like conspire to be together. However, strange things start happening after that. And again, this is one I'm struggling to remember, and I just watched it yesterday.
Yeah,
So
and I just watched it, so I'm like, there's like parts I'm blacking out too. Yeah,
I remember the beginning and the end because the end has our main character being attacked by a bear. That's what
yeah.
I know.
Well, and then obviously we lose Donald Pleasance like 10, 15 minutes into the movie via a bear.
Yeah.
Um, shout out Leonardo DiCaprio, the Revenant. But no, like, no, like, and the main thing about this one is, so the doctor's flees, goes to a circus to kind of lay low, and then just performs all these like operations on all these like to make all these women like, I guess, quote unquote beautiful again, or whole again, I should say, because they are, they, some of them were born and they were in wartime countries and they were deformed because of like explosions and stuff like that going on. Some had acid, like one was like acid related on her face. And it's pretty much his abilities as a plastic surgeon, obviously, that help him, you know, um, run the circus and have his, like brothel of women, I guess. I don't know. This movie's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, it really is. And like I I like the idea of a horror movie in a circus. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
very underrated one called Freaks, which was directed by Todd Browning, which takes place in a circus where the main villain tries to steal money from one of the performers who's a little person, thinks the little person is love with her and they want to get married, but she's like in it to take the money from him with the strong man, and her ending is dark. I won't spoil it here, but if you've never seen Freaks, watch it just for the ending alone. It's screwed up. I'll just leave it at that, especially for 1932.
Yeah.
Like it's dark even for that. But so I like, and there's also a Toby Hooper movie called The Fun House, which I thought was pretty chilling. So circus horror movies can be good. Hellfest, I'll throw that one in there too. But I'm struggling to remember anything about this one.
Nightmare Alley is another good one. Guillermo del Toro.
That's another good one, yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can do with that, but I don't know, it just felt like a lot of drama with the like make me whole, like no, and it's just like move on from this, come on. And it's like it's
Yeah.
88 minutes long, so it doesn't even have the excuse of being long.
Yeah, no, it drags on. And then that was the other thing too. Like you have like people just die just because he wants them to die. Like he can kind of pull the strings, like puppeteer behind the scenes to get that to be like that. And then obviously, like my biggest thing was, okay, so he's a doctor, he escapes, goes to a different country, kind of like almost masks himself via plastic surgery because we meet him at the beginning because he's in a car accident. You know what I mean? And then they pretty much do cosmetic surgery on the plastic surgeon to change his appearance, right? So first off, like and the only reason why he's even recognized, remember, towards the end of the film, is because of the ring. The girl sees his pinky ring or whatever, and that triggers off that he was the doctor or whatever. Which, what are the odds of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Small odds.
Yeah.
Small odds.
Yeah. Definitely a forgettable film. Good idea at heart. There's definitely a good idea there. You could have made it really, really cool. Like, this plastic surgeon flees because obviously he's wanted and goes to, like a circus themed setting, freakish, setting, dark, almost like a American Horror Story-esque type of setting, you know what I mean? And you could have done something really, really cool there. And I feel like we dropped the ball on it. It just wasn't as cool as it could have been, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these people in the circus and like stuff that they do, like even on like American Horror Story, a lot of these people are disfigured and not attractive. Not saying that that's the make all or break all, but usually in circuses you have sideshow attractions and stuff like that, where you didn't really have that here. It was all cosmetically like beautiful. Look at Adam and Eve. Look at the beauty here. You know what I mean? Like I thought a lot of that could have been. You could have done some really dark stuff with it and kind of made it really, really cooler. I think you really just lost a good opportunity to make a better film.
Yeah, it's like I said, back to Freaks, when that movie in 1932, when that movie like is scarier than like this.
Yeah.
I don't know, that says a lot. But this movie's pretty forgettable. There's some good moments here, but they're few and far between. I'll just
Oh,
leave it at that.
yeah, 100%. There's definitely a good movie here. I just think the execution was poor. I think we could have done it a lot better, made it a little bit more. I mean, the runtime was tight enough, but it dragged because it was just so boring. There's a lot of like, blah 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 going on, and it's really boring. Like, oh well, look at the doctor now. He's in love with this girl. He's trying to get with this girl. He's in love here. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, then it's like you kind of lose track who's who. You know what I mean? With the women, with the female characters, nobody really stands out. You know what I mean? Is unique.
Yeah. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these movies? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And Russell, it's a privilege to do this with you every Friday. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Notorious by Chance is the Facebook group. We just put out an episode on Napoleon Dynamite. Check that one out. Also, we have Blockbuster Films, or how did we do this? We did Epic Films for our 200th episode coming up, and we have 5 films on the on our poll. We have 7 Samurai, Lawrence of Arabia, Apocalypse Now, Schindler's List, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico, or Once Upon a Time in America. Sorry. And we're going to be putting that up soon. So keep an eye open for that. And you guys can find us obviously on YouTube, Notorious by Chance as well. Chance will be having a lot more coverage on the NFL because the NFL season kicks off tonight as we're recording this. So every Tuesday, Left Side, Strong Side, check us out there as well.
Yep, all those links will be down below. Go give them a subscribe over there. As far as this channel goes, next Friday we will return to the 2000s and the 2000 Project. We'll be tackling the Rob Cohen film The Skulls, starring a I'm getting my...
Pre-Paul Walker, yeah. Yeah, you're good.
First time I've lost my train of thought all day. Yes, a pre-Fast and Furious Paul Walker. Like, literally, he does this, and then the next thing is Fast and Furious. So, like, we're on the borderline of that. And then, because we just got a tonal clash, we got to go now to Remember Me, starring Mulder and Matt Damon's girlfriend from Good Will Hunting.
Good Will
So
Hunting,
David Duchovny and Minnie Driver. So stay tuned for that. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you next week. Y'all take care.